Okay. I'm going to have to be perfectly honest. I've just lost my internet whilst the countdown was going on. I know we're live, but I'm so sorry. So there's no intro. I've been trying very hard to get the internet to work again. Sorry. No intro, no count. I don't know if the countdown even worked. I have no idea. Big up to Kendall. Thank you ever so much for the Newcastle Arsenal preview lounge. I'm having a nightmare. Brilliant stuff. How are you, Kendall, anyway?
Yeah, I'm really, really good. Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's honestly, it's typical. Every single time your internet will be fine all day,
Yeah.
and as soon as you start streaming, it goes doolally. Mine does it all the time. So
Absolute
I feel you
nightmare.
on that one.
Absolute nightmare. It was absolutely fine. Just we were talking before stream.
Yeah.
And then I went live and Okay. Right. We're here to talk about Newcastle, as I've said. I've lost all my slides and everything now, so I'm gonna have to upload those again. This is just madness. Right. Okay, so how are you feeling about Sunday's game firstly, before we talk about the previous fixtures?
Yeah, I feel nervous because obviously now we're in a bit of a we've been fine with our results. It's just we've been in a predicament now where Liverpool can catch up and kind of Aston Villa and things like that. I feel okay with where we are though. And then Sunday is obviously a big must win for both of us in both of our predicaments, I guess. Obviously, you guys to win the league and us to solidify top four. So it'll be very interesting. The 0-0 earlier in the season in January wasn't the best game, I must admit. I think both sides kind of cancelled each other out. We just went there we immediately saw how Arsenal were going to play and said, yeah, no, we're not doing that. That's not happening. And kind of reverted to a type of play that I've not seen very much from us this season. But yeah, I'm okay going into it. I'm not as worried as I probably would have been any other season before. I'm not as worried this time. I feel like we could play well. We have played well. Our home games have been fantastic. We've only lost once at home this season. So yeah, I feel okay. I'm excited more than nervous, which is a bit scary. Oh, I think he might have frozen. He'll come back soon, I assume. Oh, he's dropped out. I'm pretty sure he'll come back soon. Just me on the screen now.
I'm gonna have a nightmare of a day, aren't
He's
I?
back.
I'm back. I can hear there's like a tropical storm outside, and I think that's what it is.
Okay.
I just cannot believe this. Absolute nightmare.
That's okay.
I do apologise.
You all right?
It's Wolverhampton. It's West Midlands. You know, it just rains here a lot. And it's been lovely all day, and now it's decided to rain, and it's just affecting
It's because
everything.
it knows bank holiday weekend's coming up, so it's like, yeah, we're gonna rain now and cause an absolute nightmare for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to try and get through this as quick as I possibly can. Right. So these are the previous fixtures that we've had at St James's Park. You've had a few wins, but mainly it's more positive towards the Arsenal.
Yeah.
We played you 190 times in our whole history, beat you 83 times, lost 68 times, which is quite surprising, really, when you think about it over the years. That's how many times. But you know, it's wonderful, really, to see. That's why I do this. It's fascinating. It goes back to like when we were Woolwich Arsenal. It's fascinating. Right, these are your previous fixtures. You've obviously been very popular, very potent in front of goal. And I remember saying, I think someone asked me about 6 weeks ago, can Newcastle do it? And I was like, if they can score some goals, yes, because you were struggling with goals, weren't you?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
A couple of 1-0s, draws here and there. I said, you start scoring goals, you'll be fine for the top four. And since then, you've literally scored 2 against Brentford. Obviously, the new Aston Villa is a bit of a blip.
Yeah.
Absolutely battered our friendly neighbours. 6-1, beat Everton 4-1, beat Southampton 3-1. What has changed since those games where you're just winning like 1 or 2-0?
So obviously the likes of Isak's come back and he is absolutely on fire. He was injured till the end of January, and that was the time after the World Cup where we hit a blip and we just couldn't win for absolute love nor money. We were struggling to score as many goals as we do now in games, and everyone's been super fit. And I think the final was obviously playing on everyone's mind as well, because it's something that we've not had as a club for a long time, since the 90s, even just being in a final, hadn't won anything for 60 odd years. So I think it was, no matter what people want to say and what Eddie was wanting to say, and he was saying we just take a game at a time. It obviously was pressuring them, because the minute that final was over, we've come back and winning ways again and playing the best football that we have. And yeah, so I think that was definitely part of the reason, obviously, and as well as Isak coming back and being on fire. So it's just nice to see that we've actually started to score again and win comfortably, despite maybe not playing well. Because I think the first half against Everton, we were only 1-0 up, and I think it could have been a very different story. But yeah, we just seem to come back from not playing well in the second half, which is similar to you as well, I think. So yeah, hopefully just keeps continuing at the end of the season now, because this is where it really is important and time to knuckle down to start winning.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about the season. We're going to talk about your opinion on it in a moment. We're just going to do a comparison. Obviously, we're in second. You're in third. You've won 18. We've won 24. Obviously, draws have been the big thing for you.
Yeah.
But the main thing that I was interested in was the average goal scores. Is you're 1.85. We're 2.38. But you are 0.82 average goals conceded, which is just for me, it's definitely Botman. Botman has changed your defence. And Shah has however you say, Share or Shah, whatever, has definitely stepped up a level for me from last season. Because last season he looked a little bit iffy for me, but this season I think he's been absolutely amazing. Clean sheets, you've got one more than us. Chances created is 2.12. Now, how would you put that down to in your team? Chances created.
You know what? Honestly, we have started playing out from the back, which is something I've never seen Newcastle do ever. So a lot of the players create chances. Obviously, the Trippier and Almiron link up at the beginning of the season was fantastic, and Trippier does a lot of the heavy passing for us, like lot in terms of long range passing. Bruno as well, but honestly, Joe Willock stands out for me because he is a fantastic ball carrier, like genuinely one of the best ball carriers in the league, in terms of distance covered, how easily he runs with the ball. And since he's been again on form and come back into the team, he's created so many chances for us. It's absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, it kind of goes across really the whole, I would say, like the middle three and the front three, a lot of chances created, and Trippier as well. So we're quite lucky in that sense that we play attacking football, and all of those chances come from across the pitch, really.
Yeah, 100%. I'm going to give you a little bit of a break for talking. I'm going to go through the comments because there have been some building up.
No worries.
I was wondering what was happening. Yeah, sorry, Tony. It's absolutely my fault. Absolutely mine. The internet's just having a nightmare. But you're both here now. It's all good. Hey, guys. Big up, Kendall. Welcome to the channel. Oh, very nice of you, James. Yeah, oh no, Bobby. Yeah, I knew I was going to get some his stick for that. But to be fair, the amount of watch-alongs and streams I do, and it hardly ever gets affected. It gets affected when Wolves are playing at home. That always happens. As soon as they've scored a goal, my internet just seems to die. I'm not confident in this game. Newcastle worry me with how physical they are. Yeah, you'll be surprised with my prediction today. What's up, Bobby, BX and Tony and the lads? Brighton Manure on. Big up to everyone. Luke thinks we're going to get slapped by Newcastle. I think, it's going to be not as easy as we expect it to be. Isak is smooth, but him and Odegaard, they're not going to happen. They'll probably have a nice chat afterwards, but other than that, there'll be opposition. Until then, Willock is a baller. I think if we don't win the league, I think Eddie Howe deserves manager of the year, being phenomenal. We'll get into that question with Kendall very shortly. I think Joe Linton passion and how he has worked hard to be a good midfielder, 100%. Lovely accent, says Moss. Eddie Howe been great. Yes, Bobby, big up Kendall every time from Gunnar King. Right, let's get into your questions now. So the first question is, how are you feeling about Newcastle's season so far? I know we've only got 4 games left, but how do you feel personally?
Yeah, I feel really, really happy. I honestly don't have a negative. I know it's annoying for like obviously fans who aren't really happy with their club at the moment and have seen Newcastle fans be very distant from ours and very apathetic towards the club. And it's very annoying for like someone to sit here and be like, oh, that I've got no negatives to say. And I get that because I used to be the one who was negative. But yeah, I could not ask for any more. We got our first final. Yes, we didn't win it. Fair enough. It came at just a bang wrong time for us in the season. Man United were on form. We weren't. But the experience was amazing for me. I've never ever seen us in a final, so for me that was phenomenal. Where we are in the league, just did not expect that from 11th to 3rd. I just didn't. It was just something that never crossed my mind. I thought it was going to be like a year-on-year situation where, we were maybe 8th this year, 6th next year, things like that. And it was just, I'm not. My cat's just attacking everything at the moment. It's his birthday today, but he's not in a birthday mood clearly. So I'm over the moon with how the season's gone. Genuinely could not have asked for any more of this season. And if we get Champions League, it's just going to be we're like 3-4 years ahead of schedule, and that for me is just it's just really, really amazing to be a Newcastle fan right now.
Yeah, well, that leads into my next question perfectly. What are you expecting to be done this summer in terms of transfers? If you do get Champions League, obviously that gives your owners more to spend. So what are you expecting?
Yeah, so I think if we get Champions League, do you know what? I'm edging closer now to say like we will get Champions League. I really don't want to jinx it though because the PTSD is real, guys. Like genuinely, I feel like every week I'm like, oh, it's gonna be the week. It's gonna be the week. And then Aston Villa came and it was the week, and I was like, oh, hopefully that just gets the horrendous performance out of the way for the rest of the season. Now we can just crack on. Because it was kind of hanging over our heads as well that we like hadn't lost for a while, and like I know it sounds bizarre, but sometimes you just need to get rid of that pressure and be like, right, you can just go on now, and there's no ridiculous stats hanging over your head and things. So yeah, I think if we get Champions League, we will probably actually, if we don't get Champions League, I think this summer is going to be probably the best transfer window we've ever seen from Newcastle. It's going to be kind of our getting rid of deadwood situation season, and every club has it every now and again. That's going to be it for us because we have got a lot of squad players who have been there for a long time, and they're not going to be with us for the next stage. And as sad as that is, and as gutted as I'll be to see some of them leave, because they have seen it all for the past 5-6 years, it's needed. So yeah, I think I'm expecting about 200 million at least. I just can't see if we get Champions League as well, it's going to help. So yeah, I think we need that as well. It's not like we're spending it because we just fancy it. We actually, if we get Champions League, we desperately need to invest that in quality players for the Champions League, because as good as we're playing, if you look at that squad, there is probably a handful of Champions League quality players there. It's just that Eddie Howe's got us playing like a Champions League team together. So yeah, we definitely need some starters, I would say, quality starters who can just fit into the starting 11 if needed.
Looking forward to this window, I have to be honest. I think it's going to be the biggest spend in Premier League history.
I'm looking forward to it for once, because honestly, normally I'm like, well, the last year's been all right, but normally I'm like, oh, can we just start the season, get rid, leave, let me go on the last day of the transfer window, because that's where we do all of our business. Like the pre takeover window was Joe Willock on the last day of the window, even though we knew we wanted him, and we messed about and then paid the amount anyway on the last day of the window. Just ridiculous. So yeah, it's nice to look forward to a transfer window now.
It is. Yeah. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about the game. So what are Newcastle's strengths that could hurt Arsenal this Sunday, in your opinion?
It sounds awful, and it's like I'm like bragging, but it's not really bragging because it's not me who's playing football. But honestly, like, we don't really have a weakness right now. Defensively, we've got the best defense in the league statistically, obviously, and so defensively, I think we'll be fine. And then obviously attack wise, we've just improved so much, like over the last, I would say, 2 months specifically. We're really, really solid, really strong in midfield with like the likes of Joe Linton's physical presence. And honestly, I think it'll be a really, really interesting game. I think we're far more interesting than January, because again, we're not on form at that point in time. So yeah, I think it'll be very, very interesting. Obviously, I really hope Isak and Wilson start together, because we haven't seen it yet so far this season. We've seen them come on together and play together a very small amount of times. Obviously, against Southampton they did, but yeah, it's. I hope to see them start together, because if they did, I would be like, right, okay, we can definitely win this. Can and will, obviously different sides of the coin, but we definitely could. So, yeah, it's going to be a interesting game, I think, because obviously both teams have got strengths basically all across the field. So it'll be a really, really interesting game. I'm really looking forward to it, actually.
Yeah, so am I. I'm doing the watch along, so hopefully it's not too bad.
I'll be there sat in St James's Park, so it might even be worse.
So you don't feel there's any weaknesses for Newcastle at the moment in your eyes?
As a team, probably not, but I feel like there is weak links. No offense to some of the players, because I think they've all played fantastically, but I have noticed a lot of times over the last, especially when a team's got a really good winger, they pretty much target our left-hand side a lot. It's not very often the right-hand side that they target. It's very much the left-hand side with Dan Burn. And I think Dan Burns had a great season. He's not a left back by any stretch of the imagination. He has played there, obviously, but that is not his position. He's a centre back. But obviously, with the injury to Matty Target earlier in the season, he's done a fantastic job. He's done a fantastic job defensively, part of the best defence in the league. And I wouldn't necessarily call him a weak link, but it's just, I've noticed that's where teams target, especially if they have a player like yourselves do, like Saka, like Martinelli, who can use those channels well. So for me, that is absolutely, I have no doubt that that's going to be a tactic, because I've seen it earlier in the season. I've seen Saka on Dan Burn earlier in the season. So, I think that's probably where it is. But as I say, that's absolutely nothing on Dan Burn, because I think he's been just criminally underrated, and just done a really, really solid job. So, yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I've been talking about Dan Burn in terms of our new centre back, Kivior.
Mm-hmm.
Like Kivior's tall. He's slightly more mobile than Dan Burn, but if Dan Burn can be a left back, so can Kivior, because he's actually got. And I'm not saying anything nasty about Dan, but I think he's been brilliant as a left back this season. I think he's absolutely awesome. But Kivior can actually move, so the height doesn't really bother me in terms of being a left back. I'm a right back. Well, I was when I was young, but it's just interesting. I'm going to get into some more comments, because they are slowly building up. Armoury is saucy. Yes, I'm guessing bright. To be honest, I'm not even paying attention.
I can't see the results. So
yeah,
what's going on at the minute?
He's saying Moss says his dog hates magpies. Fair enough. How we get into some manager talk there. We'll get into that in a minute. How is my manager of the season to transform you from battling relegation when he took you from over to 11th to 3rd? Easily manager of the season, in my opinion. Kendall, would you rather win the final and make Europa League, or get into Champions League? Okay.
I had initially said before the final, I had said that I wanted to win the final, because I feel like, especially for, everyone's going to love this on here. I'm not just saying it because I'm on here, but for Tottenham, for the likes of Tottenham, for example, they've not won anything, and it's always hanging over their heads. Every single time someone mentions Tottenham, well, you haven't ever won anything. And I thought, if we get that silverware out the way, we can just dead that argument immediately. I don't care if people call it Mickey Mouse Cup or whatever. We can just ignore that completely and just say, well, actually, we have won something. However, as the season's gone on, and now I see that we are good enough to get into the Champions League, then I would have much rather had the season that we've had, because I think it's made us better, and it kind of, we maybe wouldn't have seen the football that we have seen. So yeah, I have been a very much a flip-flop. I'm not gonna lie. Depending on the scenario and the time of the season, I have been a massive flip-flop. But it would have been nice to have a silverware and just get that argument out of the way first, I think.
Yeah, fair enough. Gunnar King coming back. I remember when you qualified for Champions League and got knocked out in the qualifiers. That was harsh. Always had a soft spot for you, Geordies, Kendall. I'm gonna be real. Where do you want to invest, Kendall? What positions or what sort of players do you have in mind Feel free to
we
answer
need.
that.
I'm not going to lie, but we need like at least 5 starters. I know that sounds awful because where we are this season, right? But that squad in general we just have not got the depth and quality at all to even compete in the Champions League. Yes, our style of football would be fine, but just in quality and depth and extra games that we don't have that everybody else has had around us. We definitely need at least one fullback. We need a defensive midfielder, another winger, another attacker, because we have only got Wilson and Isak at the moment. I know I'm saying only, but we definitely need another one. So probably at least I would say four starters there.
Fair enough. Arsenal, Newcastle going to go great guns in the summer. Yeah, it's going to be a massive window, especially with United when they deal with what they're dealing with.
Yeah.
Moss is going to say about a fullback here. KT, do you want KT at Arsenal?
I'm a huge Tierney fan. Huge Tierney fan. In fact, when we were linked with him, like a couple of months ago, I was like, that just seems strange because I am such a big fan of him, and I just at the time I couldn't see why Arsenal would get rid, because like Zinchenko and Tierney is your two like left backs. I mean, that's unbelievable. And I was like, that's crazy, but I would 100% have Kieran Tierney. I think, and he's an Eddie Howe type player. Eddie Howe would literally love Kieran Tierney. So I would have Tierney. But as you say, it's not like when we let De Bradford go on loan to Man United, I was like, that's just weird. Because that's who we wanted to compete with. Why would you even do that? So yeah, I can see why Arsenal fans would be like, yeah, don't sell him there. Don't let him go there.
How much would you want Newcastle to pay for him now?
70 mil seems a bit steep, but then
that's just Moss. Moss is just 70. There's no way I would expect 70 million for Tierney.
Do you know what? I honestly I wouldn't even know. Like how much? Like Cucurella, for example, was 50 million. 50 million for a fullback just seems bizarre, but like that's where the market is. Do you know what I mean? I feel like the figure that was quoted at the time, I mean, I don't know how true it was 40 million. I actually think that's okay. Look at me, he's talking like a rich person. 40 million, fine. That's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
But
just go get your checkbook, Kendall.
Yeah. Where the market is, I wouldn't. 40 million is probably where we're at, really.
Yeah, fair enough. Gunnar King saying again, Newcastle's strengths is their organised shape at the back, but good technical ability, pace and power in the wide areas, and potent spearhead of attack with Isak and Wilson. Very good. Isak is outrageous. He definitely is. When Isak and Wilson on together, second halves have been cooking. You are right. So must agree you there earlier about something that you said earlier. I think Newcastle centre back and left back areas can be got at when you attack with pacey and trickery. We struggled when we did it last time, just saying. I'd also say their keeper Pope ain't great at outplaying for the back.
He's not.
Yeah.
And when he does them ridiculous things like getting sent off, like where he comes far out of his box and sweeps the ball. He could have easily, he did it again against Wolves and could have easily got a red card again. And do you know what? When he did that and it happened, I was like, he's off. I said to my dad, and we were sat at the game, I was like, he's off 100%. And I said, if he is off again for doing the same thing, I was like, I literally don't want to see him again because he's actually really annoyed us. But God, I can't believe something actually went our way. He didn't end up getting sent off. So we were very lucky that day.
What kind of goalkeeper would you expect this summer then? Do you expect a new one?
I like Nick Pope, but he's a shot stopper. He's not. Looking at how I think Eddie probably wants to play and the way that we play, you would need someone, obviously not Edison, but you know what I mean, like an Edison style keeper. And the problem is with the keeper market, it is extremely limited. You've literally got about 6 really that's probably being generous, 6 really good goalkeepers across Europe, and then the rest are like average but have a clanger, or good but can't play out from the back. It's the goalkeeper market is just so limited, and I would love someone like Mike Mannion from AC Milan, for example.
Good one.
I can't imagine that would ever be done. Like, he doesn't need to leave AC Milan. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. It's going to be a strange. That's going to be strange. But I love Nick Pope, and I think he's been exceptional again.
Yeah, he's very underrated with the England fans, to be fair.
Yeah.
Gaza was a great Geordie. Yes, he is actually on my England shirt, so that's how good I actually love him. Big up to Brenny. He's my pod brother. He'll be back tomorrow. Big up from Anfield, Uncle Rods. Big up Armoury TV and Kendall in the chat. Selling Tierney and Balogun could bring in 100 million easy. Or I think about 80 million for those two, if I'm being honest. People talk about Haaland being a robot, but I actually think Dan Burn. I love Dan Burn. Honestly, he's so underrated. He was at Brighton. He just no one really talks about him. And again, at Newcastle, no one's talking about him.
Yeah, 30 million as well for how good of a job he's done. It's like in the football market in the Premier League, it's just nothing. Nick Pope, another 10 million. Trippier, 12 million. These deals are just, it's so unlikely to be done again. But Dan Burn's he's been fantastic. And it's great to have people around like that. And I really kind of hate that cliche of like, oh, you need people to get the club and stuff. But where we are right now, we really did need that because that was lost for so long. And he just came in, it was like, and bless him, he's so honest. He said, when the takeover happened, he was sat at home and he said to his dad, well, that's never happening now. I'm never going to get a chance to go to Newcastle, because that was his dream, to be back at Newcastle. And just the way the world works, he's come back, and he's been fantastic, really.
Yeah, I love it. I love those type of stories. James Wright, who's actually like a little scout part of the Armoury, he reckons you should get Diego Costa from FC Porto. Is the goal?
Oh yeah, that's actually the goalkeeper my brother wants as well, Diego Costa.
Okay.
So
there you go.
I'm not going to tell my brother that he's like being vindicated in that choice there. I'm just going to be like, yeah. I won't let him know that he's actually done a good little scouting report there.
yeah, exactly. Right, it is challenge time. I have explained to Kendall what it's about, but it's the intro time first. So we'll just get into the intro. Okay, so the rules I have explained to Kendall. Kendall's got to choose 5 Newcastle players injured, suspended. Moss, I know you're listening. No players are out on loan. He tried to cheat the other day. He picked Lukaku for the Chelsea game. Not happening. Not happening. So no loaned players, Moss. But how would you want to do this? Do you want to start with the Arsenal players, or do you want to start with your own?
Yeah, I think I feel like in my head I know how I want it, but then I think there's positions in my head and I'm like, oh no, actually, because honestly, if I could, I'd just like, right, there's this. I would have Saka and Martinelli, right, and then everyone else would just be Newcastle. That would be how I thought about it, but it's kind of not fair. So, okay, so I can have 5 Newcastle players. So off the bounce, I want Isak in. I'm just going to it's going to be no shape or order this. I'm just going to tell you what
honestly, it's fine. Everyone does
think.
it like that. Yeah,
and then I absolutely want Bruno in there as well.
What, do you want him as the DM?
Yeah, DM, because that's kind of, he's not really a DM, I don't think, as I keep saying, but that's where he normally plays. And then I will have Joe Linton in there as well. Oh no, I don't. I don't want Joe. I do I? Oh, I don't know. Put Botman in there as well, because they're the 3 that I definitely know that I want, like 1,000%.
I'm not surprised that you've picked those 3 at all. I could have chose those 3 for
and then Trippier as well. I know I definitely want as well.
Yep. Okay. I'm loving this team so far, so that's good.
So I've got 4 there because I knew for a final fact I want a Trippier in there. So I'm going to have to pick between Joe Willock and Joe Linton, and that's very upsetting to me. And I don't want to have to do that, but I am going to have to. So maybe we might leave that till the end. Okay. And then I want Saka and Martinelli on the wings. As I said, they can just go on the wings.
Saka.
Immediately we win the league with this team. I don't care what anyone says. We win the league with this team.
Let's try and find him again. There he is. Right. Okay. So.
And then I will have Saliba as centre back.
Yep.
Zinchenko as left back.
Okay.
I'm actually doing this pretty quicker than I thought, actually.
You're the quickest one doing this, I tell you.
And then I'll have... Oh, this is horrible. This is honestly like choosing your favourite child. Actually disgraceful. I will have... Honestly, guys, as well, if you're watching this back and you're thinking your team is so unbalanced, I honestly don't care. I am going like all out attack. Give me like goals. That is what I'm going for, right? I will have... I've got like two combinations in my head. I go Odegaard and Willock.
Yeah.
Or Xhaka and Odegaard and Joe Linton, or Xhaka and Joe Willock.
Okay.
In my head, that's who I'm thinking. Obviously, the keeper's going to have to be Ramsdale. It's going to have to be Ramsdale because I don't have another room for a Newcastle player in there. And I think Nick Pope's kind of a waste. As good as he's been, I think it's like a wasted position for us. Okay. I'm going to go. I love Joe Linton's like my boy, but it's going to have to be Joe Willock just simply for the Arsenal link.
Okay, so you're going to put Xhaka next to him, yeah?
Yeah, and then Xhaka. I would have Odegaard in there, but that's way too unbalanced. I feel like I need just like a physical like presence in that midfield, and the Xhaka remontade has been like crazy this season. So yeah, that's what I'll have.
Kendall, you're the only person that's tried to go for a balance in midfield. I've had a few teams, and it's mainly attack, or defence. So honestly, the fact you try to do it, I love it. Honestly, it's brilliant. Right, so this is Kendall's team. She's gone Ramsdale in goal, Trippier, Saliba, Botman, Zinchenko, Guimaraes, Willock, Xhaka, Saka, Martinelli and Isaac. It's a very good team.
I feel like you're making us feel like I want to change Xhaka now, but I don't. No, that's what I'm going for. That's what I like. I like that enforcer in midfield, and Xhaka is a very, very good. If I'm going to replace Joe Linton, Xhaka's a perfect one. So yeah, I'm very happy with that team. Very happy.
Brilliant. It will go up against the Armoury lads tomorrow, and so yeah, we'll find out who wins tomorrow. I am the referee, so I'll decide. But I think you've done a very good job again. So yeah. Even Gunnar King says, yeah, that combo would absolutely cook. I actually do believe. Let's see if Moss has tried. Oh, Luke's tried to do it. Okay, so he's gone for Pope, Trippier, Saliba, Botman, Tierney, Odegaard, Partey, Guimaraes. Nah, not for me. Kendall would beat yours. Sorry, Luke. It's just a bit too Bobby moaning. He hates that. You did not. No, you cheated. You chose Lukaku. Right, he's gone for Pope, Trippier, Saliba, Botman, Ozzy. No, there's a reason why, and I like what Kendall's actually done for balance. Yours is not entertaining for me. So no, still no. Right, let's not get into the last couple of questions.
My team wins the league, by the way. That's in that. That's what I'm saying. So where's
the confidence? Right, who do you think should be manager of the season? I know I've still got 4 games left, but out of all the managers, you can pick Eddie Howe. I have no issues with that because. He's definitely going to be one of the candidates.
I think Eddie Howe deserves it if he gets it, but for me, whoever wins the Premier League gets it. That's just where I'm at. If Pep, however, I know everyone says obviously, well, it shouldn't matter about outside competitions, but Klopp won it last year because he had a chance of the quad, and that's the reason why he won it last year over Pep, who actually won the league. So, I think outside achievements, obviously, domestic clubs does matter when they choosing things like this. If Pep does the treble, there's absolutely no one else in for that. What's the point? You may as well just say see you later. Just give it to Pep. I know everyone says, Premier League's Pep's bread and butter at this point. Yes, it is. Grow up, you know what I mean? Go and win leagues, whatever. That's just so embarrassing. I'm just very jealous. But if Arteta wins the league, I think he deserves it.
Yeah.
And if depending on what Pep does, because I think if he only wins the Premier League, I think someone else deserves it, and I think Eddie Howe in that situation. So I've got a couple of scenarios where I think Unai Emery's a great shout because he's got them from 17th to 5th in one season at the moment. Sorry, they must be 6th now, are they, with Liverpool going to 5th? So they've got European football probably this season, so he's a shout for it. De Zerbi again, depending on where they finish, a good shout. So yeah, I think it's actually really nice that we've got a big range of people. But yeah, that's my kind of scenario. That's my top 3 in different scenarios there.
Brenny's gone for a good one here. If they get European football, I would say Thomas Frank. I think he's so underrated by us. So
yeah, I don't like him, right? Because he made this really sly comment about because Isaac scored a goal against them to win, and he was like, yeah, well, that's what a £50 million striker gets. Yeah, and I was like, what do you want us to do about it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's always makes sly, whingy comments, and he goes under the radar, because Klopp's always the whinger. So like Thomas Frank goes quite under the radar for being a whinger. But in terms of like how he's done, he's done absolutely fantastic. And I think they're a little bit outside of qualifying for Europe now. I think it'll be Brighton, Liverpool, Aston Villa, a mix of them. But yeah, I think if he gets European football, then he's definitely in for a shout as well.
Brilliant stuff. Right, final question, score prediction.
I've gone 2-1 Newcastle. That's been my prediction all week. That's where I'm at with it, because I think, as I said earlier, both teams cancel each other out. We're at home, which just in my heart gives me the advantage, not my head, because I'm much more realistic in my head. But I think that could be. But then again, I think we've both been very high scoring sides of late, but defensively very good. So that's why I'm not going with like a 3-2, 4-3, like anything like that. I think 2-1 is my prediction.
You've just picked one of the ones I've gone for. I've gone for 3-2 to Newcastle. I think it's going to be. I think we're both going to go for it. I hope.
Yeah, I think so.
And it's whoever can possibly be better on the day. We had a better performance against Chelsea, but second half wasn't great, and I think Newcastle can perform for 90 minutes.
See, we're the opposite. Like we're really? Like first half. Honestly, some Tottenham aside, because obviously that was just silly. That was very unusual. We did the opposite way there in the second half. We were just like, well, we're 5-0 up. This is literally no point. But yeah, first half we've been like not just kind of on the back foot a little bit and not playing our best. Takes us a while to go into games. But yeah, second half we've been playing a little bit better. So that'll be very, very interesting. I think you're right though. I think we can go across 90 minutes if we really wanted to. But just as of late, we kind of as well haven't actually needed to. So Arsenal will be the biggest test we've faced this season, I think, by a country mile. Because even when we got beat off City earlier in the season, in like February time, I was kind of just like, I knew that was going to happen. So it wasn't like, oh, we've gone there and we've been crap. And we weren't on form at that time as well. It was that time when we just couldn't win. We just couldn't win a game. We were just drawn across the park. But now, because we're on form, it's like, I actually think that we probably can go for 90 minutes and play well for 90 minutes. So it'll be an interesting game for sure.
Definitely will be an interesting game. I'm looking forward to it, to be honest. Moss has gone for, I think, 1-1, almost pick us to win. Okay, I think I've gone for 1-1, but Moss is what I think you've gone for. BX has gone for 3-1, so I've written that down to the Arsenal. Luke has gone for 4-1 to Newcastle.
I cannot see that like Luke, but I'll take that.
Well, I'm very sure you will, yeah. I won't. I'll be on the watch along crying. I was fine with the City one. I was kind of prepared for the 4-1 City, but yeah, not to sound disrespectful, but I would cry if we lost 4-1 to Newcastle. Just not because you're a bad team. It's just like it's just painful to watch my team.
Yeah.
Me and Moss, we did the Chelsea game. We were on a streak of 8 watch-alongs, including the women's and the under-21s, of 8 games, 4 draws, 4 defeats. So that Chelsea game was very much needed for me and Moss because we're just absolutely awful. Do you guys think we may play Katie finally? Oh, he's asking basically us. Okay, we'll ask that one tomorrow, Moss. We'll talk about that one tomorrow. But Kendall, thank you ever so much for coming on. Really appreciate it. Great chat.
No, thank you for having me.
Where can people find you?
So this is just my @here for everything. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, wherever you want to find me. Obviously, as we've mentioned earlier in the show, the latest episode of The Overlap is out now on YouTube as well, if you want to go and check that out. Newcastle actually only got a tiny segment this time, but because we are an Arsenal channel, you guys got 2 episodes. So there was a tactical episode and then a title race episode as well. So if you want to go and check that out, you can do.
I can't believe that. You've got a tiny little bit.
We literally got like 30 seconds. Us and Brighton got 30 seconds and there wasn't even any Villa representative there. I know. I genuinely couldn't believe it, to be fair. But
that really bugs me.
Yeah, it is what it is. Hopefully at the end of the season we get a little bit more. If we finish in Champions League, we get a little bit more time.
Because I don't know about you, but these big 6 and top 6 shows, they kind of annoy me. And I'm like, where's the Newcastle reps?
I've always said this as well, obviously, because for me it was like looking from the outside in, but it's especially when so many teams now that you wouldn't expect are doing well, it's like they deserve their flowers. You know what I mean? Like Brighton and Aston Villa, so and Brentford. So yeah, we'll see what happens at the end of the season when everyone finishes. And we might get a little bit more airtime.
I just want to quickly put this out there because it's quite funny. Gary Neville just waffling on off low out. We have to have a little dig at United. We are actually a sister channel with the United channel as well, so we always like to have a little dig at each other.
They'll be loving that.
Yeah, they'll be loving that. But thank you ever so much, guys. I'll be back tomorrow at 7 with G Talk, Sprenny, and Neil, talking about again Newcastle Arsenal game. But Kendall, really appreciate you coming on. Really appreciate it. And we are now out, guys. Take care, everyone. See you later.